Meet Reggie. He sleeps a lot, he eats a lot, and then he does a lot of other really weird things. And in the summer months, when I have my bedroom window open, he likes nothing more than to use it as a second cat flap, jumping in and out maybe 20 or 30 times a day. And that's fine, or at least it had been for the past 8 years. But very recently he fell. Now don't worry, Reg was completely fine, although it took an expensive trip to the vets to figure that out. But I guess he's just not a kitten anymore. Back then he was practically made out of rubber, but now he's just had his 8th birthday and well, he's not such a spring chicken anymore. I just don't want to risk him falling again, and so I'm going to build him a bridge. And not just any bridge, I'm going to build him the Golden Gate Bridge. I started with some wood, lots of wood, as well as some wood glue, some hinges, a pair of door stops, red paint, grey paint, yellow paint, some thin rope, popsicle sticks, and then a whole lot of screws.
Hey Reg, you ready to get started?
The first step was sanding. The main plank of wood that would be the actual bridge surface itself was only a rough cut of timber, and so I needed to thoroughly sand both sides to really smooth it out. Next up was cutting. The bridge will sit at a bit of an angle between the garage roof and my outside window ledge, and so I cut these little rounded strips of wood to provide a bit of extra grip for when Reg is using it. I space them evenly along the main plank and attach them just using wood glue, which I let dry overnight. First thing the following morning, I cut a chunk out of the end of the bridge to allow it to sit flush on a slanted garage roof, and attached both the rubber door stops on which it would rest and the hinge with which it would attach to the house. This was the bridge in its most primitive yet functional form, and so before I went any further, I wanted to test it out to make sure it all worked.
So that's the bridge all in place. It's attached by the hinges. Got the little door stops on the other end for it to rest on the garage. Obviously it's not built properly, it's not got the sides and stuff, but structurally it's all there. We know it works, we're ready to start building the extra bits. There we go then, the basic cat bridge.
I cut 2 narrow planks of wood, which would become a sort of lip on either side of the bridge for a bit more security when he's using it. I attached these using both wood glue and screws, as Reg found himself a comfortable spot to sleep in the flower beds. And finally it was time to build the actual upright tower parts of the bridge. I cut some strips of wood to size, and then had to drill various holes through which the rope would be fed to create the classic suspension bridge look I was going for. And then after screwing and gluing it all together, the towers could be at last attached to the bridge.
There we go, the bridge is built and I put the rope on one side just to check it all works. Now it's time to paint it. Reg has come inside to watch me paint.
I had to first apply a coat of primer before moving on to the red paint. And after 2 coats of red, I could begin with the dark grey for the road surface. I used a smaller paintbrush to touch up the edges without ruining the red. Two coats of grey later, I fed the rope through the holes I drilled earlier. And once it was taut and in position, tied and cut it to size, burning the edges to stop it from fraying. And as a final touch, I cut out a stencil and painted a yellow dashed line across the bridge. All that was left was to put it in place. Within moments, Reg was on his way over to investigate.
Come on, Reg. Reg, I've just spent 5 days building you a bridge.
It was the same story
Reggie.
the following morning. He wouldn't even acknowledge the bridge.
Seriously, again?
So later that day, I thought I'd try out a new tactic and try to lure him across using treats. And it looked like this time I'd managed to capture his attention. Although he was nervous at first, it didn't take long until he got used to it.
Yeah, good boy.
And after the day's excitement, it seemed as though Reg had tired himself out.